Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, gonna hear a story titled Wife Cheated with Dozens of Men. And a big shout out to Carl to sending me this article. I really appreciate it. And guys, this whole story is truly, no exaggeration, about the marriage from hell. And this guy is married to obviously the wife from hell. No exaggeration, no joking around here, and you'll very quickly see what I'm talking about. And basically, the scenario is this, guys. This is about a guy who gets married to this woman at 21 years of age. How many times have I told you? The classic mistake is people get married way too young. They're kids. And from the get-go, there's problems. And it goes for 15 years. Now, here's the crazy part. This guy could have avoided all of this if he would have simply listened to his gut and paid attention to the red flags when he first met her. Because he's going to mention here that his gut was basically telling him to get out of there. There were red flags, and you're going to see what I'm talking about here. But he didn't listen to his gut. And, you know, guys, I do these videos to help guys out that they don't get into situations just like this. Because in today's world, there are so many guys that are just completely clueless. They haven't had a strong masculine role model in their lives to give them, to teach them important, valuable lessons, and they make all these mistakes. Because let's be honest here, for decades now, you have more and more young kids, boys and girls, but this is a men's channel, so we're going to focus on boys, being raised in single-parent households, usually moms, and the moms are going to be around her all the time, not a guy usually. They may see the dads on the weekends if they're lucky. And they're going to pick up on her behavior and also the behavior of their teachers in school, which are usually women. And they need a masculine role model to help them out, to guide them in a way, to set an example. Because I guarantee you, the moms are not going to raise them to be the type of guys that, let's just say, they were attracted to when they were younger. They're going to try to raise their boys to be into these perfect gentlemen, right? And what happens to guys when they act like perfect gentlemen? They get walked all over. They don't stand up for themselves. They get taken advantage of because they don't know any better, okay? And the feminist movement has done a damn good job of molding society to be in this way. And if young boys look to television and movies to see an example of a masculine role model, guess what they get? They get guys acting like buffoons, like bumbling idiots, acting weak, pouring out their emotions, chasing after women, kissing their ass, put them on a pedestal, all that. So is it any wonder that these stories pop up left and right from the ones that people send me from their own personal situations or the stories you read online, that these things happen? You know, it's unbelievable. So I'm trying to help guys don't make the same mistake that these guys in these stories, whether it's personal or whatever, send it to me. So anyhow, guys, I'm going to get into this, and you're going to see how this thing goes with this guy, and also how, obviously, later on down the road, he's going to catch the wife doing certain indiscretions with his GoPro camera and all these other things. It's pretty interesting. So, getting started. Starts off. I'm a man in my 30s, and I was with my now ex-wife for 15 years, and we have 3 young kids. We've been together for 21 years old to 37 years of age. So they got married crazy young. How many times do I tell you guys, don't do that? You're out of your mind. These are just kids. They have the maturity level of a bunch of high school kids. Being in my early 20s, when we first started dating, I ignored the huge red flags that she had cheated on her ex-boyfriend, whom she lived with for several years. She even had a 3-way with 2 guys whilst he was at work. She stated that she just wanted to feel wanted. My instincts were telling me different, but I stayed and tried to put it behind me. So right there, 2 big lessons. Don't get married super early and pay attention to the red flags. Okay? If your gut is telling you something, guys, listen to it, okay? Save yourself a whole lot of pain and misery, because this guy, if he would have listened to his gut, he would have avoided all this shit, which you're going to see. He says, I was young and naive and assumed that, sure, we all make mistakes in life. Stupidly, I would later go on to ask her to marry me, and I knew I had a gut instinct telling me not to do it. See, he knew. This guy probably is a darn good guy. Unfortunately, I guarantee you, he didn't have any male role models to teach him to trust his guts, to trust his instincts, to stand up for himself, as you're going to see he will not do, and to warn him about people like this. Guaranteed. After about 3 years of being married, in which I thought things were going fine, yeah, sure, we had our first baby. Things all started to change that winter of 2009. She started going to her friend's house a lot more. Then she started sneaking out of the house in the middle of the night. We would go to bed at, say, 10 p.m., and I would wake up at 1 a.m., and she was gone, and the car was gone too. She would return around 4 a.m. or so. This went on for months. How can this possibly go on for months, her disappearing in the middle of the night, and him waking up to find there's no car, she's not there? Because he's allowing it, because he's not laying down the law with her. Do you think she has any respect for him? Hell no. Because like I said before, women that respect their guy, they don't act like this. I mean, some may because they're psycho, but by and large, if a woman really loves a guy, it's because she respects him, and she's not going to behave in this manner. She doesn't love him, obviously, and she sure as hell doesn't respect him. But what does this say about him? The fact that he got married so young, the fact that he didn't trust his instincts, the fact that he married her, the fact that he's allowing this to happen. This tells me the guy is obviously a Mr. Nice Guy. He has no backbone, no spine, no self-worth. He's a low-value man. She got herself a beta male provider. End of story. And she's going to enjoy living in the house that he obviously pays for and all that. And she can go do whatever she wants. And there are just vampires out there like this that are just going to suck the blood out of anybody that's willing to let them do it. It's crazy. Be careful, gentlemen. He said, this went on for months. I would call her phone and no answer. She had also started smoking and drinking. She had never been a drinker, but suddenly started. So you know. I was also in the middle of going into the military. We were arguing and fighting at that time as well. Where the hell was she going and what was she doing? I would phone and text her and no reply. She started smoking. Then she started smoking other stuff and drinking. I then left for basic training, and 5 weeks into training, she tells me on the phone that she's pregnant. Gee, I wonder who the daddy is. How many times have I done videos, guys, about guys that go in the military and they're either in basic training or they're deployed, and it is a train wreck what happens with their wives back home because they get married really young. That's just what you see in the TV and movies. You get married and go off to the military, and he's the girl's hero and all that shit. And guess what happens? He's out of there, and next thing you know, she's at the bar meeting other dudes. And how do I know this? Because I've done stories on this and read tens of thousands of comments from guys all over the world, either sharing their experiences about this happened to them or some guy that they served with. Okay? Again, lesson there, if you haven't seen those videos, you're in the military, and you're young, don't get married. Wait until you get out. I think people tell me the saying that the drill sergeant says if the military wanted you to have a wife, they'd issue one to you. Pay attention to that. It says, we had barely been touching each other, and I've carried this deep feeling ever since that my daughter is not mine. More his gut telling him something is off. My boys are the spitting image of me, but not her. Something has always just felt off. She lied and talked me into thinking she is mine, telling me I'm forgetting about all the occasions that we had before. I know this is just gaslighting. I need to focus on the training, and when I had gone home on leave, she was acting normal again, acting all loving wife, and picked me up at the airport. So she puts on the front as the whole loving wife thing, and then just like that, they're fighting and screaming, and she has this whole other life behind the scenes. She sounds like a total sociopath, in my opinion. And you're going to see more why I say that in a moment. During that leave, her female friend was looking after our son, and my soon-to-be ex-wife got a text from her friend's boyfriend stating, "Come and get your baby, or I will expose your lover." My ex-wife had a story for everything. Yeah, I fell for it again. I knew deep down there probably was a lover. I never did find out, and after I left the military for medical reasons, we moved to a new area far away and life went on. The fact that he's staying with her after all this crap just so far, what does that say about him? Is he a high-value man that values himself and knows that he can replace her in a heartbeat and has lots of options? Or is he a low-value man who has no self-worth, no self-esteem, constantly takes a beating and asks for more? Right? No self-respecting guy that has something to offer would tolerate this shit. Unless you see yourself as worth nothing. Right? And if you're going to put that kind of energy out in the world, you're going to attract people into your life that are going to reinforce that view of yourself. Goes on, for years, I've been terrified of a paternity test as it would crush me and I'm so scared of destroying my little girl. However, I'm going to do a paternity test this year. The person we believe she was cheating with was an unemployed alcoholic with bipolar who lived with his mother in a trailer park. So classy. Yeah, well, he may be unemployed, living in a trailer with his mama, and be a drunk and all that. But you know what? At the end of the day, I bet you he acts more like a man than this guy does, and that's it. He probably lays down the law with this guy's wife, and that's why she probably finds attraction to him, because this guy doesn't do that. That guy probably has a pair, even though he's obviously a lowlife, and this guy, in his regular life, does things right in terms of providing and all that for his family, but is spineless. So she's going to go after the masculine guy. If you can hear that wind, we're having a nor'easter here, thanks to Canada. Thanks, my Canadian friends, for sending this shitty weather down to Massachusetts. So bear with me as the rain and the wind is shaking the car here. Anyway, he says, her stories also changed when I was coming home from the army when she said he had tried to kiss her. Nothing ever added up. She swears to this day that she never cheated, but going by what was yet to come, it was pretty clear she was indeed cheating. Why this guy didn't end things with her, I will never understand. Fast forward to 2020, so he stayed with her all this time with all this things going on and this suspicious behavior and the drama with her. He's still with her. Fast forward to 2020, and this is when everything fell apart on a major scale. As if things were already falling apart on a major scale from day one. At the start of the lockdown virus in early April, she started acting weird. She started hiding her phone. Normally, we went to bed and it was face up beside the bed. Now it was face down and on silent. She also changed the passcode. Her attitude changed on a level I never knew she was capable of being. She started screaming at me over minor issues. I would walk past her on the sofa and she would scream that I was giving her dirty looks. This woman is mental. Again, why are you with this crazy chick? And don't tell me because of the kids are going to be raised in a household like this, and they're going to end up becoming like this later in life. You don't believe me? Just watch. She kept shouting at me that I never loved her and I wanted a doormat. She's nuts. Everything I did was criticized. She was constantly angry and picked fights over everything. Sounds to me like she's trying to sabotage the marriage so she can get out of there and have fun with all her Chad and Tyrones, all 24 of them, as you're about to find out. She then suddenly wanted to start going for walks on her own, which she had never done in 15 years. She'd always had a turbulent relationship with her sister, and a year previous had wanted to ghost her from our life altogether. So, turbulent relationship with her sister. What have I told you guys? That if you're going to get into relationships, and if you're ever thinking about getting married, pay attention to how the girl you're with, how the dynamic and relationship is with her family. Is it a positive one where they're all getting along, they love each other, have a good time, and they're supportive? Or is it a big giant drama fest where she's fighting with the siblings and fighting with the parents? If you see that, get out, because that's going to become your life. So right here he says turbulent relationship with the sister. Is it any wonder that their marriage is a big giant drama fest? Right? This is not rocket science, guys, but I mean, I got to point these things out. She started taking the kids to see her at the sister's every single weekend. The kids say she never left the house, but I think the possibility is that she was going out when they were in bed, or she was lying about going to the store. Changed passcodes on all her social media, suddenly hid her friends list on Facebook, started drinking and hiding bottles of vodka around the house. Her phone was now glued to her, always in her pocket. Even if she wanted to go to the bathroom, it was in her pocket. That says everything. One Saturday night, she also got drunk and used the kitchen floor as a toilet. Well, that's nice. She then passed out and her phone kept lighting up at 2 a.m. I got into it via her fingerprint, and that's when my whole world collapsed. She, to this day, does not even know half of what I found. I found out that she was sexting nearly 20 men via WhatsApp and Snapchat on a daily basis, and storing their names under female names. She was making videos of doing certain things to herself at 6 a.m. when we were all sleeping, and sending the videos and photos to them all. I caught her asking 4 men on Snapchat when they would be in the area to hook up. One of them ended a message saying, "Now you can go home and finish yourself off." I will assume she met him in his car. So let's go back in time to when he first met her and saw all the red flags, and his gut was telling him, get out of there. Don't marry her. I bet you he's wishing now he listened to himself. Trust your guts, gentlemen. She kept cheating with one guy in particular, and despite being caught several times, she kept doing it. I went straight away to file for divorce the next day after discovery. Hallelujah! Finally, this guy's grown a pair. She stated she had deleted her Snapchat and removed those men from her phone. I did once again gain access to her phone and found that she had set up a new Snapchat under her maiden name and only had him added to it. A few days later, I left a GoPro camera hidden in the kitchen, recording, and caught her on camera taking her skirt down and taking S-word photos of herself whilst the kids were 15 feet away in the other room. Not even 72 hours later, she was lying to my face and that there was no him and she was not cheating. I caught her red-handed. Well, of course she's lying. Of course she's cheating. She is a pathological liar. Then one Sunday evening, maybe a month later, I was informed she was on Tinder. I had a look, and there she was, and stating that she had a boyfriend who wanted to watch her sleep with other men in front of her. She went into sad sausage-faced when I confronted her and showed her the screenshots of her profile. Of course, she said it was not her and just somebody being malicious. She does have an answer for everything. The person even managed to spell certain words exactly the way she does. Her other excuse as to how it was not her was that they did not use her full name. Think of using Phil instead of Philip. Plus, Tinder also shows distance, and this profile was within half a mile of our house. I said we should phone the police then and have it investigated. She stated she had bigger things to worry about, like our marriage, than to worry about a stupid fake profile. Oh my God. Worrying about their marriage? Who do you think is the one ruining the marriage? Ruining it from day one, I might add. I had friends check also, and it was gone. Surely a catfisher / malicious person would have had zero idea that I had found the profile. I informed and showed my solicitors, I'm assuming that means his lawyers, and they asked how stupid does she think we are. But like the time I saw hickeys all over her right bosom, and she claimed it was from our child climbing over her. 3 young kids under the age of 11, and never once in those 11 years any such bruising happened. She came home one afternoon and seen bruising on my shoulder that looked like hickeys and went ballistic and started screaming and throwing things at me. Yeah, she's freaking out at him even though she's doing all this too. She is mental. She does not do irony. Then things got really bad, as if things weren't really bad enough. Then things got really bad, and I was arrested for suspicion of manhandling her. I can't use the other word, guys. And this got social services involved, who then removed us from being together. Just too much to post and all at once. I'm slowly trying to fit the puzzle together, but I don't know. This was the top of the iceberg. Yeah, something was a couple run-on sentences here. The suspicion of common manhandling was dropped by the police as there was no evidence and no witnesses. So she's just randomly accusing them, and of course they believe it because why wouldn't they? Because she's a mom, a woman, and men are all the root of all evil, so of course she would believe that. It was her friend who phoned the police that night, and my solicitors believe I was set up based on the evidence and the situation that I was going through. My kids were interviewed twice by social services, but they stated there was no concerns at all towards child safety and that I was clearly a decent father and the kids deeply loved me. Of course he's a decent father. He's just weak and just naive and had no role model to help when he was young. They merely wanted my ex-wife and I apart, and they declared I was not allowed to remain in the family home. Well, that was probably the best thing that could possibly ever happen to this guy. She had then gone from ignoring me to message me about how much she ruined everything and how she never stopped loving me and wishes she could come back so none of this ever happened. Never stop loving him? If this was her idea of love, I really would hate to see what her idea of hate is. What a load of crap. Then she rages to screaming at me and accusing me of having girlfriends, and she screams that they aren't the WHORES. I've not had any girlfriends, nor have I cheated. I believe this guy hasn't had any girlfriends or cheated, and he would definitely be within his right to do that. But this guy, again, how many times this guy could have gotten out of this marriage, but he stayed in it. He never says he stayed in it for the kids, but I'm willing to bet you that's the reason why. And again, look what the kids have to grow up with. It's horrible. Goes on, she used to manhandle me, would grab me by the balls and dig her nails deep into me, and it caused me pain for days. Oh, this is crazy. And then get right in my face and tell me that if I even looked at another girl, she would cut my manhood off so I could never get it up again. I would really like to know what this woman looks like. Is this the hot crazy scale? Because the fact that he was with her in the beginning, even though he had the red flags, and still with her now, I gotta wonder, was she just smoking hot and he just could not get that? He was hypnotized by that. You know, she was like a tractor beam of hotness that he just could not back away. Because she is crazy. Irony was that when she did these manhandlings while she was cheating, 2 weeks before Christmas, she turned up at the household unexpected and manhandled me by punching me in the chest over and over and screaming, "You're mine, you're mine." She even admitted to this manhandling via WhatsApp and promised that if she came over Christmas Day with the kids, she would not hit me. At Christmas, she tried to sleep with me. She even lied about the school therapist, stating that my 9-year-old daughter has bipolar. I spoke to the therapist on the phone, and she stated that she did not at any point mention bipolar, as she is not qualified, so forth, to even say such a thing. I ended up classed as homeless, and now I have my new home, and my now ex-wife, as of 5 weeks ago after divorce hearing, was granted for adultery, stating, "You come out smelling of roses." On the day, I sadly bumped into her whilst moving. How having a 15 years of my life, losing my home and my kids counts as smelling of roses is beyond me. I should also mention that social services at no point met with me nor spoke to me to hear my side of the events. They just automatically took her side, hear that, and removed me from the home. That day she cried and said how she wishes we could go back and for none of this to ever have happened. This guy, now that he's divorced with her, thank God, and in his own house and is away from her, needs to do everything he can to get those kids away from this crazy witch. Seriously, those kids are probably screwed up anyway, but this guy's got to do whatever he can to get those kids away from her. Good Lord. Then a week later, she turned into an awful rage upon receiving the court letter about the time and date for the divorce hearing. States she threw out the items that belonged to myself that she had asked me to leave. We are now in a situation of potential parental alienation as I received zero updates on the kids, no calls, no messages, no contact at all. She had previously promised that she would provide updates, calls, and photos, so forth on a regular basis, but sadly nothing has materialized, and she now states that she should not have to chase me. I'm aware via my solicitors that this can be a common form of that type of thing after a divorce. Again, she is a train wreck. She is psycho. And yet, the kids are staying with her. Again, does anybody else see the problem here? How many guys are great, wonderful fathers, but the family courts say, have the kids go with mom, even though she's nuts? Right? Tell me that I, as well as many other guys that do channels like this, aren't doing a service bringing these things up and asking questions and questioning how things are, because this is wrong. Anybody watching this, anybody hearing this story would have to agree that this is wrong. But this happens. How many guys watching this right now were good fathers? And the kids went with the mom and she was a lousy mother? Comment below. Let me know, guys. Comment in the comment section if you or someone you know had that happen to you. It's complete bullshit. I've been reading to this group for months now, and the one thing I truly believe is that there are no second chances. Cheaters will try and hide the cheating better. They will lie, gaslight, blame shift, and set you up in extreme cases. What I've wrote about is only the tip of the iceberg as to what I've been going through. I'm proud of myself for having divorced her. Well, hell yeah, brother, for divorcing her. Good for you. It's 15 years too late, and you should have gotten with her in the first place, but okay. So my recommendation at this point for this guy is to do whatever he has to do. I don't care what it is. Get those kids in his custody. And, I mean, for full custody, or at least see more of them. If he can't do that, spend as much time with them as he can, and let them know that he loves them and all that, because she is going to screw them up, as if they're not already screwed up now, but even far worse than what they are. And this guy's got to rebuild his life. But this guy also needs to stay away from women for a long time and to learn to start being a man, to start standing up for himself, not tolerating shit from anybody. Stop being a doormat, do what you want to do, okay? Lay down the law with whoever, it is, and that's that. Because this guy, all this happened because he wasn't that way at a young age. Because obviously somebody didn't teach him to be that way at a young age. So I really hope this guy, by posting this story and obviously getting a lot of feedback, learns these things. Because he's probably a great guy, but just, good Lord. And of course the lessons of always trust your gut. Always pay attention to the red flags. So guys, you guys watching this now, wherever you are, all over the world, learn from this guy. So the same things do not happen to you. That's why I'm doing this, trying to help you out. So anyhow, guys, lots of lessons in this story. That is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to join me on Instagram, Locals, or Patreon for exclusive content. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.